Times have run awfully good here, but haven't put it in the winner's circle. We'd sure like to do that today.
Several drivers are here looking for their first victory of the year, and the veteran John Force is looking for his first NHRA career win. He's concerned about lane choice.
There's no doubt lane choice is very critical here today. It showed first round in the left lane, surprisingly as it was that Oswald struck the tires, and Bernstein come back and ran a track record. Totally amazed me. It's going to get down to be a clutch man's drag race, I think, here pretty soon.
Join us as we watch the 3,000 horsepower funny cars on a super fast track as they pair off for the NHRA Molson Grandnational.
The Superchargers National Championship and Unique Motorsports. Sponsored by your neighborhood True Value hardware stores. We've got what it takes. And by Gold Eagle, makers of fine automotive products, including new Quantum.
Today, it's the NHRA Grandnational from Semifinal International Speedway. We're about 60 miles east of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And you're about to see world-class funny car competition. Hi, everyone. I'm Jan Gabriel. Joining me on the broadcast today is a two-time world champion himself, Frank Hawley. Frank was the champion, the NHRA champion, in 1982 and again in 1983. And we have got quite a race going here in the funny car competition. Interestingly enough, the quick qualifier, the #1 seed, if you will, is out of the competition. And that is Mark Oswald.
Mark Oswald, after being that #1 qualifier, came up in the first round of eliminations. He had lane choice. He was racing Brad Tuttle, who is somewhat of an underdog. They both smoked the tires. At that point, it became a driver's race, and Brad Tuttle flat out drove Mark Oswald. So now Brad Tuttle is in the second round of competition.
We saw Brad Tuttle earlier on the Superchargers this year. He comes from a drag racing boat background.
Exactly. Although they run the same sorts of engines in the boats as they do in the Nitro Funny Cars, Brad told me that it's a lot different racing on asphalt.
All right, with that situation in mind, we now know that Kenny Bernstein is the class of the field here.
Bernstein was the #2 qualifier. After Oswald went out, Bernstein came back, run a 5.66 second run. Now he's the quickest car, and that was a new track record.
And there is a force to be reckoned with, John Force. He comes into this event as the NHRA point leader in funny cars.
John Force has been runner-up at 6 NHRA national events and has never won one of these races. So with Austin Coyle, who was my crew chief for 4 years and I was racing, he may be a force to be reckoned with.
Now, Kenny Bernstein's got to be feeling pretty good right now. And we're going to go down to the pit area and find out with Steve Evans. Steve, of course, the foremost authority on NHRA championship drag racing. Steve?
Thank you, Jan and Frank. You know, Mark Oswald going out on round #1 did not bring any tears to the eyes of this man. Kenny Bernstein, you told me earlier that it's this race you really need to get back on track, and it appears that that's happening.
Well, we hope so. Obviously, we've got to get back in the game. It's a horse race in the funny car Winston World Championship. 7 cars within 1 round of each other. That's awful tough. So I'm sorry for Mark, but I'm happy for us to have the chance maybe to make up some ground here and some room.
Okay, now on paper you have a distinct elapsed time advantage over the rest of the field. How does your crew, what mental attitude now is necessary to develop to not beat yourself?
Well, that's the trick now. Obviously, the advantage we've had many times before. It doesn't mean you're always going to win. In fact, it seems to always go to the left on us when that happens. But what you do is try to prepare the car for what is the next round, your competition, and what the track and atmospheric conditions are doing. Try not to step out of bounds. In other words, try to keep it within the realm that makes sense.
And try to hang on to lane choice. This is a tricky racetrack.
It really is. It has been in the years past, and today's no different. You need the lane choice to win this race.
All right, thank you, Kenny.
Thank you.
Well over 40,000 people on hand here this afternoon at Semifinal International Drag Strip. It's the Molson Grandnational, and we have our first cars on the line. And the funny cars here this afternoon, Frank Hawley, are running very fast.
Johnny West, in qualifying a couple days ago, set a new track record at over 260 miles per hour. That proves one thing, Jan, that this racetrack here in Semifinal will yield some record performances.
We have 6 competitors in the quarterfinals. Let's take a look right now. First is John Force.
He's been a runner-up way too many times. He's looking for a win.
The 5th fast qualifier is Brad Tuttle.
Brad used to be a boat racer. Now he's on asphalt, and he's looking to take out John Force.
Looking for his first win this year, Kenny Bernstein.
He hasn't qualified very well, but he might be the guy to win this race.
Here's Billy Meyer out of Waco, Texas.
Billy Meyer, a racetrack owner now, in addition to being a race car driver.
And he'll take on Tom the Mongoose Mcewen.
30 years experience, and that could be the difference here at the Grand National.
In the cockpit of the Hawaiian will be Johnny West.
And there he is, Jan, your new track record holder. He might be the guy to stop Tom Mcewen.
So that sets up the quarterfinals. And let's take a look now. It'll be John Force. He'll be taking on Brad Tuttle.
Both drivers are doing their pre-race burnouts to heat the tires and lay sticky rubber tracks on which they will launch the race car. John Force knows the frustration. Over 10 years as a drag racer, 8 times runner-up, has never won an NHRA championship drag race. Today here at the Grand Nationals, he's going to try and win his first.
Here's Brad Tuttle now. Brad perhaps needs a little more experience.
Possibly, but he did beat Mark Oswald, the #1 qualifier, in the first round.
And Brad Tuttle, of course, realizes that John Force is a veteran who doesn't make many mistakes.
Yeah, that's true. So, we got to step up because, what he ran. So I hope we don't beat ourselves, but we're going to just give it our best shot.
Brad Tuttle obviously looking to impress everybody here this afternoon.
And if he beats John Force, he could well do that.
And John Force, of course, realizes the fact that a veteran and newcomers as well can beat you.
Yeah, they can step up and bite you, and that car has been known to run fast. But when it's your day, I guess. So it's anybody's day.
Both cars ready and about to stage. Extremely critical.
Those photoelectric cells tell when the car is exactly on the starting line, and you must have it within inches. Right now, the drivers are concentrating on those starting lights.
And they are ready, and they're away, and it's a good start for both of them, but Tuttle gets a little out of shape, and John Force brings it on down through the traps, and Force will win it with an ET of 583 and a speed of 248.48 miles per hour. So John Force is your winner. Tuttle got himself in a little trouble.
These cars aren't all that easy to drive. 3,000 horsepower. He lost traction. It was like trying to drive on ice. He crossed the center line.
So John Force will move into the semis just a little bit later on. Right now, let's go down to Steve Evans and John Force.
Well, for John Force, the semifinal round shouldn't be more than a formality. John, congratulations. A 583 will put you into the final.
Thank you. She's Steve. She's run real consistent, right? Just about where Cole figured she'd be, and this is going to give us one tune-up run, and whoever's there, Bernstein, Mcewen, Myers, whoever, is going to give us a shot to do what we want to try without the pressure on us to either step her up or stay right where we were at.
Back on the line, fired up and ready to go is Kenny Bernstein out of Newport Beach, California. Last year alone, he won 6 national events.
Jan, he'll be racing Mr. Billy Meyer, a 32-year-old professional race car driver from Waco, Texas. Billy's performance hasn't been very consistent the last few seasons. He was runner-up to me in 1982 in the NHRA Winston World Championship points chase. Billy knows that here at the Grand Nationals, he's going to need that consistency. It's not going to be that easy to win this race.
No, it's not going to be easy, obviously. We haven't ran that good in over a year now, as well as he ran first round with a 566. So with our first run, we have quite a bit of work to do.
Among the fans here at Sanair International Dragway, Kenny Bernstein is the favorite.
They always say that, it seems like, when it gets to this point, but I don't look at it as a favorite because in this game and motorsports in general, with drag racing in particular, anything can happen, so it's a long time till it's over.
Kenny Bernstein now moves up in lane number 1. He is ready to go. He is the quickest man ever in a funny car. He was the 7th fast qualifier here.
And Billy Meyer was the 4th fastest in qualifying, Jan, so anyone can win this drag race.
Concentration level is up. Both drivers now ready to go, and they are away.
And Billy Meyer's out in front of Kenny Bernstein, but back on the starting line is a red light. Billy Meyer gambled on the starting lights and lost.
And he lost to Kenny Bernstein, who trips the clocks with a 567 ET, a speed of 257.73 miles per hour. So Kenny Bernstein now will advance into the semifinals.
And if he can maintain that quick pace, he's got it made.
Let's go down the shutoff area right now and see what Kenny Bernstein's got to say.
Kenny Bernstein did not know that Billy Meyer had red lighted. You are indeed still alive.
Unbelievable. You wonder why I drove down here, because I didn't want to talk to you, Steve. I thought I was late again.
Well, you dirt tracked it around that turn. I thought, I'm getting too old to chase you, Bernstein.
I really didn't know we'd won. In fact, I thought I was late. He was out there, and I went, man, oh, man, but I didn't see a red, and I just want to kind of come down here by myself for a second.
567.
Oh, it's good. Super. Well, thank you, Billy. I appreciate it.
Well, I think Billy knew how good you were going to run. Just closed his eyes and gambled.
Well, he was awful early, but I didn't see the red, and when you don't see it on this side, I really thought I was late. I said, holy cow, I'm late again. I said, my goodness me. I wanted to have some Wheaties or something.
Well, for a change, I'm a bearer of glad tidings.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Two more hot setups ready to go on the line. Tom, the Mongoose Mcewen, won the Cajun Nationals earlier this year. He takes on Johnny West from Chandler, Arizona.
Roland Leon, owner of this colorful machine, won this race last year with driver Rick Johnson at the helm. Right now, he's got Johnny West at the controls, and West is one of the best.
Another thing we have to keep in mind, Frank Hawley, this car was second fast qualifier.
This Hawaiian car, Jan, is making tons of horsepower. Their problem right now is sticking it to that racetrack.
Tom Mcewen ready to go. Here's a guy who has written a lot of drag racing history. They blew an engine earlier today.
Well, we just kicked some rods out of our motor on that last run and run 81 and give up a little before the lights. Roland ran a 77 or 78 the run before, so we'll put a brand new bullet in there and go up and run him. He'll have lane choice. I don't know if that'll affect our car, and I don't think it will. And we'll just see who's lucky today.
Tom Mcewen says he's looking for a little luck.
Luck may be a factor, but no matter how you slice it, preparation is the key to winning an NHRA drag race.
And Johnny West knows that Tom Mcewen comes to the line well prepared.
Oh yeah, he's always a good round. He can't ever cut him short. He's always one of the killer guys around here. We've got lane choice, so that'll help us out a lot.
Frank Hawley, seems to be a lane preference developing here.
A lot of the drivers feel that the traction on the left side of the racetrack is much better than it is on the right side.
Both cars are staged, ready to go. And it's Johnny West. He gets the traction and takes it on down the 1320, leaving behind Tom the Mongoose Mcewen. It is Mcewen who spins the tires. Johnny West brings it in with an ET of 579, a speed of 259.21 miles per hour.
It takes an awful lot to stick 3,000 horsepower to the ground. The race was over on the starting line. Tom Mcewen lost traction, realized there's no sense chasing Johnny West down the racetrack.
Let's go right now to Johnny West.
Well, as his opponent goes up in smoke, Johnny West streaks to a 579 at 259. It's all there. It just needs a little more.
Well, the track was a little bit slippery on us now, and, you know, we knew it was going to be after all the rain, so we just knew that we had to try and drive it through all that. You know, the car's got plenty of power. Boy, it's been waiting on us, really.
Well, it's going to need all it's got in the next round. You'll face off with Kenny Bernstein.
Well, he's been beaten before, you know, and we've showed him the backside of our car one time, so he's used to seeing us ahead of him. We'll do it again.
So we are set for the semifinals here at Sanair International Dragway, and we'll be right back on the Superchargers. On the Superchargers for the Molson Grandnational NHRA Funny Car Championship event. I'm Jan Gabriel. Joining me on the broadcast today is Frank Hawley, the two-time NHRA Funny Car World Champion back in 1982 and 83, not too long ago.
Well, I sure miss being out there on the racetrack, Jan, but being here at Montreal watching this fine drag race is the next best thing to driving.
A lot of people don't know you are a Canadian.
I was born and raised in Canada, so it feels like being back home here up in Montreal.
We are in the semifinals, and now Kenny Bernstein takes on Johnny West, and we've got a quick twosome here.
Well, we certainly have Johnny West has been doing an outstanding job. The new track record holder at over 260 miles per hour. He could be the guy that could stop Kenny Bernstein today.
Kenny Bernstein has been the quick qualifier in 3 previous national events, but has failed to score the big one.
Kenny is the defending world champion, and if he wants to repeat this year, he's going to need to win some drag races.
Now, Johnny West, on the other hand, he's in a car that sort of has a revolving door.
Roland Leon, in 20 years of drag racing, has had about a dozen different drivers. Johnny West fits the bill very well.
Both cars now slipping into stage. Frank, quick question. Is it important to stage first or perhaps last?
A lot of drivers feel it's a psychological advantage to be the last one into stage. Myself, I used to feel comfortable being the first one to stage. It gave me an extra couple seconds to get ready.
Bernstein and West ready to make thunder. Let's watch them carefully now. It's Johnny West who gets off early, but he redlines. So it'll be Kenny Bernstein as he clicks the clocks now with an ET of 578, a speed of 238.72 miles per hour. A little smoke coming out of the car of Kenny Bernstein.
It looks like he damaged an engine, and there's that bright red light indicating Johnny West's early leave at the starting lights.
For Bernstein, the elapsed time fell off a little bit. Let's go to Steve Evans.
Well, Kenny, whenever you get them red lighting against you, as Billy Meyer has done and now Johnny West, it means they're running scared. A 578 for you.
Well, that's good. I saw that red light that time, needless to say, but it hurt itself pretty bad. It got a lot cooler this evening, and of course that brings the atmosphere in, and she just didn't quite make her down here. It hurt pretty early, so that's why it fell off.
Well, one thing that you've done here is maybe open the door, though, for John Force, even though he's got a single, to maybe take lane choice from him. He's up there going to try that, I believe.
No, I'm sure he'll go right for it, obviously, because you need the lane choice, like we said earlier today. It's very important here, so I hope we haven't, but we'll have to see.
John Brute Force, the 37-year-old veteran from Yorba Linda, California, looking for his first national championship victory. It could come on this day. He'll be making a single run because of a no-show in the first round, and this is important to him, particularly because of the elapsed time factor.
Elapsed time is the time it takes you to go from the starting line to the finish line. Speed is not necessarily a factor in a drag race, Jan. And what's important here is the quickest driver in the previous round gets to select which lane he runs in. We've been watching the race. We found out that the choice of lanes is usually the left side. Therefore, John Force is going to make this single, make a full hard run, trying to earn lane choice in that all-important final round.
And we also noticed that Bernstein in his last run, the ET slipped off a little bit.
He had damaged an engine with only a 5.78-second run. John Force might beat it.
John Brute Force pressing down the asphalt now as he flies through the traps. Here's the elapsed time. It's a 581, not good enough for lane choice, a speed of 240.12 miles per hour.
Let's not count John Force out. He still has a good shot at that Grand National title.
Should be a dandy now as it shapes up between Kenny Bernstein and John Force. Right now, let's get down to Steve Evans.
I don't think any drag racer can appreciate how John Force feels going into this final round, not even Frank Hawley, because John Force holds the world's record for coming close. But, John, you've got a shot today at losing that reputation, that stigma.
Well, Steve, here we are again in the same situation. We've been before racing against cars like Kenny Bernstein, as we have here in the final, cars that have been world championship because they just have the edge on us. And it'll take a little bit of luck here today, but this car's been consistent enough with Austin Coil tuning it the way it's been running it. Maybe we'll have a chance this time.
With the final round now set, we've got a couple of minutes. Frank Hawley, tell us what's happening with the drag racing school down there in Gainesville, Florida.
In the first year of operation, we've had hundreds of students come down to our school, and they've had two things in common. They didn't have any racing background, and they thought it was the most exciting thing they've ever done in their lives.
Well, driving one of these funny cars is not the easiest thing in the world. Frank Hawley shows us.
I'm here in the pit area sitting in Billy Meyer's funny car, and I'm going to go through some of the controls and show you what the driver has to do in that 5 or 6 second run. We've already done the burnout, and we're creeping the car up to stage it. We have our hand on the brake, our foot down on the clutch, and our foot ready on the throttle. As we creep the car into the starting lights, the top light of the pre-stage bulb is going to come on. Then we'll probably push this button in, which is going to hold the brakes on as we leave the starting line to soften the leaves so it doesn't spin the tires. We're going to creep the car in gently. As we get there with that first light on, we're going to reach down and push a valve, which is going to add more nitro to the idle circuit to make the engine respond better off the starting line. We're going to creep the car in gently. As we're fully staged, we're going to wait for that green light. At the green light, we're going to push the throttle down, lift up off the clutch pedal, grab the steering wheel, let go of the brake, and head on down the racetrack. As we go down the racetrack, we might want to adjust the fuel curve a little bit, change the volume of nitro that goes into the engine. We can do that with the button on the left, which we push in. That will adjust the fuel curve. We get a few hundred feet down the track. We can push this button here, which is going to shift the car into high gear. Now, further down the track, we might want to take some fuel back out of that car. We can pull this button back out. All the time, we're concentrating on keeping the car straight and accelerating in about 3 Gs. As we come towards the finish line, we're going to put our hand up on the parachute lever. As we get to the finish line, we're going to pull the parachutes, lift off the throttle at the same time, reach down, shut the fuel off to the engine, grab the brake handle, bring the car to a safe stop. That took me a little over a minute to describe, and these drivers do that in 6 seconds.
Frank Hawley just showed you how it's done. Now let's watch Kenny Bernstein and John Force as they square off in the final.
John Force, 7 times a national event runner-up, never a victor. Kenny Bernstein, winless this year, he's overdue.
They're underway, and John Force spins the tires. So it'll be Kenny Bernstein who will take it through the traps. He'll win the event with an ET of 569, a speed of 257.28 miles per hour.
Coming into this event, it was anybody's race, but Kenny Bernstein's consistency prevailed, and he ends a long dry spell, Jan.
And for John Force, it's more frustration. Right now, let's go to Steve Evans.
Congratulations.
Well, thanks, Steve. It's great. Boy, I tell you, I'm glad to get it off our back.
Well, Dale didn't send you up there soft, a 569.
No, he didn't, and he deserves the credit along with all the crew. They did a super job, and he really put it right on the button, and it was that way all weekend.
We'll be right back. National is now history. Kenny Bernstein is its winner, and Kenny says he's kind of on a roll. He's got some momentum going for him. Is that possible?
Well, they were struggling earlier in the year. He's the defending world champion, and they just weren't having the car run as well as they thought. Dale Armstrong figured it out this weekend. He got the car back into the 560s. That's what it took to win the event, and this momentum may carry on throughout the rest of the season.
John Force came into this event as the point leader. He now drops to second. He is 20 points behind Kenny Bernstein, but there are 8 events still left in the season.
And 20 points isn't very much. In fact, at the next drag race, if John Force out-qualified Kenny by just 1 position, he could more than make up that 20-point lead. So it's a very, very close points chase.
So, plenty of racing left in the 1986 season. Well, we want to wrap it up here at Sanair International Raceway. Certainly want to thank you for joining us. Frank Hawley, always a pleasure having you on the broadcast.
Thank you, sir. It's nice to be here.
And, of course, our thanks also to Steve Evans. We'll look forward to seeing you next time on the Superchargers.
A promotional fee has been paid by Gold Eagle, makers of Quantum, the new system of problem-solving formulas engineered to help today's cars run better on today's gasoline.